It's the Go Gopher Podcast with Mike Grimm, episode number 212. I am Mike Grimm, voice of the Golden Gophers, and welcome back to the podcast. What an exciting week for the Gopher women's basketball team. For the first time since 2018, they're in the NCAA tournament field. And for the first time since 2005, Williams Arena will be hosting first and second round tournament games. Minnesota entertains Green Bay in the opening round on Friday afternoon at the Barn at 5 o'clock. The winner will advance to Sunday's second-round game with a trip to the Sweet 16 on the line. Gopher redshirt star player Mara Braun has been a frequent guest on the Go Gopher podcast over the years, and she'll join us for the first time this season this week. You know she's excited about the Gophers dancing, and I'm excited she'll share her thoughts with us here this week on the Go Gopher Podcast. Our Go Gopher Podcast is presented by alumni-owned Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're a business founder planning to exit your business, start by contacting Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. Sunbelt serves more businesses up to $5 million in revenue than anyone, and True North M&A serves companies with revenues up to $150 million. Get a confidential, no-cost, no-obligation business valuation started today. Hey, make the most of your life's work. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com today, and our thanks to their leader, Brian Slipka. Longtime Gopher sports supporter Cub is a proud sponsor of the Go Gopher Podcast with Mike Grimm. In a hurry, don't worry, Cub delivers. Get fresh meat, produce, everyday essentials, and more delivered to your door. Cub is the official grocer of the Golden Gophers and proud to support Gopher athletics for over 20 years. Shop happy. The Go Gopher Podcast is also presented by OnX Maps. Find out how to download the OnX Fish app for free by listening to the Go Gopher Podcast. We're podcasting episode 212 from the Aquarius Home Services studio. We also want to thank Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union for their support of Golden Gopher student athletes. They've supplied a gift card to Mara Braun this week for her appearance on the Go Gopher Podcast. Thank you, Affinity Plus, for their great support of Gopher sports and specific ties to Mara Braun, who's a brand ambassador for Affinity. You might see her on an Affinity billboard every now and then. We invite you to subscribe to the Go Gopher Podcast. You can also follow our show. It's free to do so. You can go back and have a listen to previous Go Gopher Podcast as well. Last episode, for example, we had the great Pat Nicoletti on to talk Gopher hockey as well as state tourney hockey and much more. It's always a thrill to chat with Pat. This week, we're talking the big dance, Gopher women's basketball, and much more with the very talented Mara Braun, who will join me next.
Hey Gopher fans, Jalen Crocker-Johnson here from Minnesota men's basketball. In basketball, wins come from preparation, trust, and executing when it matters the most. That's how True North Mergers and Acquisitions approaches selling your businesses. True North M&A is a local alumni-owned company and a proud sponsor of Gopher Athletics, helping businesses of all sizes make winning moves. Thinking about selling? True North's M&A helps maximize your life's work and close strong in crunch time. Visit tnma.com for confidential conversation.
This is Jim Suhan for TSR Injury Law, 612-TSR-TIME. TSR Injury Law started off as a small business. They are now a large, very successful business because they help people, because they win cases. If you are injured, call 612-TSR-TIME. They will help you out or point you in the right direction. They will not charge you unless they win your case, and they win a lot of cases. We don't want you to need their help. They don't want you to need their help. But if you do need their help, call 612-TSR-TIME.
It's episode 212, and we are talking Gopher women's basketball. What an exciting week here for the Minnesota women. They are hosting NCAA first and second round games Friday, Green Bay. A win Friday puts them into Sunday and a chance to go to the Sweet 16. Mara Braun is with us, a return guest. First time this year, though, we've had a chance to sit down and chat. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
The smile on your face tells me that you are enjoying this time right now.
Oh, yeah. It's so much fun. I'm just ready for Friday.
Yeah, and it's one of those you want to speed it up, right? But you also know that there's preparation to be had, and you got to be ready, right, as a team. And I know there's a process that that you guys go through, that the coaching staff puts you through, that you feel pretty prepared each night.
Yeah, I mean, we've been at practice for a few weeks now, so I'm just itching to start playing a game. But now that we know who we're playing, it's been a lot of fun to start prepping for them. In these next 2 days, we'll really get to know them and watch more film on Green Bay.
Yeah, and for you guys, it has been kind of a funky schedule because your bye week came on the last week. So you went a whole week
with nothing, then one game, a nice road win at Illinois, and then that tough game in Indy, and then again nothing here for a little over a week. So what are you guys trying to do to stay sharp? Obviously, you're getting a little rest. Hopefully, the body recuperates through just the bumps and the bruises of a season. But what are you guys doing to try to keep the edge?
Yeah, we've done a lot of just working on skill work and just us as a team. Obviously, we're not prepping for anybody, so just taking lessons we may have learned from other teams we've played and just, getting back to what we do. And we've gone up and down a lot, worked on our pace and transition on offense and defense and just swinging the ball, moving the ball. A ton of that, a lot of just competing, a lot of 3-on-3, 4-on-4, 5-on-5, full court things just to get our bodies still moving like we'd be playing. But also the staff does a good job of allowing us to rest. And it's a long season, and so just making sure our bodies are ready for this next stretch of games.
Yeah, I would think, too, at this time of year as you are winding down, it was a long grind for all those straight weeks you guys played. I suppose if you had your druthers, you would have liked a bye week maybe sooner. But as it happened, this is how it fell. So not just physically, I suppose, but is there, was there a chance maybe for a day or two at some point in there that you just let your mind rest and rejuvenate as well?
Yeah, I think we all do a good job of doing that. When we're at basketball, we're going hard and we're doing extra individual workouts, but we also love to just hang out on the side. We're always doing fun, side quests. I think we love shopping together, just hanging out, going to the movies, things like that, like normal teenagers like to do.
Yeah.
And then luckily for me, I get to go home and see my parents and my dogs and brother, and so that's nice too. But yeah, it's a time to kind of wind down, but then also, refocus and get ready for the tournament.
So you've spent your whole life playing basketball, and I'm sure Selection Sunday has always been something that you would look forward to watching, right? Both men's and women's, I suppose, as you watch basketball. And I know that you probably wish that it had come a little sooner, that Minnesota's name gets popped up on in your career, but through injuries and some bad luck here and there, here you are. So what was Sunday like for you to be sitting there at Williams Arena watching the show, knowing there was no suspense, there was no drama, you knew you'd be in, you just had to figure out what was that day like Sunday?
A lot different than last year watching. Last year we had watched as a team and we had made it somewhat a big deal, but, there was that, are we going to get it, are we not? And obviously we were very disappointed to see we weren't, and then found out we were in the BIT, which obviously ended up, we did well. But it was disappointing last year, and so this year going into it and knowing that we for sure clinched a spot, but just finding out who we would play, that was really exciting. And like you said, I was always at home watching with my parents and, making fun of all the teams doing silly dances and things like that. And but then finally we were the team that were up there and that people were watching across the country. So that was just a really fun experience and able to have all our families there, whoever could make it out with the snowstorm. But it was just an amazing experience and a great opportunity.
So you knew that the Minnesota would pop up, but even with that knowledge, did it still, did your heart skip a beat when you did just see it, just to know, yes, here it is?
Yeah, it came a lot quicker than I thought. I didn't know for sure, what region we were going to be in. But, yeah, it happened early, so I had to make sure I had my phone ready because I wanted to document the experience. And, yeah, it was really fun and just the excitement and now just getting ready for Friday.
Yeah, I think I heard a cut or a quote from Tori McKinney that she was like, "Yeah, we're in. What are we doing?" And I think she said something like, "I was watching Mara film it," and I'm like, "What are you filming for?" And then when the name popped up, I'm like, "Oh my God, it's us!" And then she kind of joined the party, I guess.
Yeah, there's a photo where you can tell I was the first one to notice, and everyone else's faces were like, "Guys, come on!" And then eventually we saw it. But
they caught on. Yeah. They caught on. And with your journey in specific, did it mean a little more too, just knowing what you've been through with the injuries and different things on Sunday to get to this point?
I mean, really, if you think about it, my first year, we were in no tournament. Our season ended after we lost that first Big Ten game. The next year, NIT, the next year, BIT, win it, and now the NCAA tournament. So it happened, obviously in increments, but a long, long time and effort, everything has gone into that, and just keeping myself healthy and the rest of the team. So, yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, but I think the way you see it has progressed over the course of my career is kind of cool.
Yeah, it is just kind of the next step in the process. And not only did you guys make the show, as we mentioned, you knew you'd be in, and then the beauty was Saturday you found out you knew you'd host. I mean, how big is that to be able to? I mean, one, sure, you like to travel, maybe you go somewhere, but man, playing at home is a huge advantage, right?
Oh, it's great, and just being able to play in front of all these people that have watched, us, especially from Minnesota, watch us our whole lives, and growing up into the players we are now, having random people texting me they're coming out to the barn. And I know Ty told me this morning at our workout that, it's hard to get tickets. He went on there already, and tickets are starting to slowly diminish. So I think that's just so cool. And I think he said student tickets sold out within like the first 15 minutes or something like that. So it just shows that people want to come and they want to watch. And like I said, just having family and friends there versus watching on TV or having to fly to wherever we are, it's going to be a really fun environment. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, gophersports.com. If you're listening and haven't purchased tickets yet and want to go, that's the way to get the tickets. And as Mara mentioned, they are going. I think they've even opened up a few sections that, you just don't know what it's going to be. But, they're starting to say, all right, this is getting kind of fun. I know the last time Williams Arena hosted women's first and second round was, I think, 05, which was a Final Four year, I believe. And so it's been a while, and that was a huge home court edge back in the day. And, man, the more people that get in there and you start getting upper deck seats full, and it can have an impact on the outcome of the game, right?
It gets loud in there, that's for sure, especially when we've had 4,000 or 5,000 fans. That makes a difference. But now imagine, getting up towards what it actually sells out to be it's going to be a surreal moment, but I'm just excited for Friday to come.
Yeah, I just can't wait, right? And then from that standpoint, I remember earlier in the year, I think it was after one of the Gopher men's upsets and there was the court rush, that you had commented like, man, that's that's an atmosphere we want to play in. And you've had a couple. I mean, weather didn't cooperate a couple times, right? Ohio State, great win at home. But in fact, the Gopher men, I was on that flight back. We got sidetracked. We had to land in St. Cloud because they wouldn't let us land here. And then I was actually listening to the game on the bus ride from St. Cloud back to the airport to get our cars. But so that, sometimes that doesn't work. But you have had some good crowds. That last senior day, nice crowd. And so I'm sure that has helped build interest for this week too, right?
Yeah. Well, especially talking to Amaya, she's excited that her last game at the barn wasn't that senior night where we had unfortunately lost, and that we can have another try at it, and hopefully to get more fans. Like you said, that Ohio State game, obviously the snowstorm, but people still ended up coming, and we had a good amount of fans for what it could have been, so I was really happy with that. But the fans are loyal, and the ones that have been coming will come, obviously. And then now just everyone else that's kind of joined in, we're happy to have them here too. Yeah,
no doubt. Friday, 5 o'clock, it's Gonzaga and Ole Miss. You actually, for the price of one, you get two games, and that's going to be a pretty good game too, because Gonzaga is a 4-loss team, and a higher seed, double-digit seed. But Ole Miss, they have some good players, and they've been knocking on the door to try to make some noise. And so we'll see how it all goes. So if you're a basketball fan in general, it's a great weekend, and obviously if you're a Gopher fan, it's a great weekend. This year in general, you had at that point where you won, was it 9 straight, and you guys were rolling, and it seems like that momentum has carried over there. As you mentioned, there was the senior day, you stubbed your toe. Ohio State is a coin toss game, right? They're a top 10 kind of a team. You guys feel like you're kind of in that mix too. The lead shifted in that one, but you're there. You're playing with good teams. So take me through this season in terms of how you guys kind of progress from start as a team to where you won 9 in a row and still are feeling good with how you're playing.
Yeah, well, from the beginning, we had big goals of what we wanted from this team, and I think if you were to tell us we were going to be hosting, I think that we would have been not shocked, but just like, wow, like that really exceeded our expectations of, honestly, we just wanted to come in here and stay healthy first and foremost for me, myself, and just do everything I could to help this team. And I think just the way everyone stepped into their roles, and I mean, especially I just thought of Sophie Hart right from the start, and she just is having a phenomenal season. Like what she's done for this team is just amazing. And so for her, for Amaya, for some of our seniors having the season they're having, like that's just means so much to me that's the way that they can go out. So to answer your question, I mean, yes, this is what we expected in a way, but I've just continued to get better and better over the course of the season. We've had some, ups and downs, but consistently we're able to get back on track. And I think you saw that with that nine game stretch. We just had such good momentum and the team chemistry, and we just have so much fun together. And when we're having fun and it's light and it's like we're happy, we're smiles, everything like that, it just seems to come together a lot quicker and easier out there for us. So just trying to find that over the course of this tournament run, because we've never done this, but doing this together, it means a lot more, especially with those seniors.
And when you say you've never done it, that WBIT, though, the run, and even the previous year when you make the finals of the WNIT, do you think that some of the success you had there, one, it could help this weekend, but just generally helped for this season in terms of what you accomplished last year late with that charge, that it kind of pushed you into a positive vibe and momentum for this year?
I think it proved that we can do hard things. It was a long stretch of games, especially with that BI team being on the road. I think for us being at home, this one for sure, and then hopefully two, like that's really going to help a lot in the long run of it. But I think it just proved that we can push through. Players came out in like big ways. I mean, Tori McKinney had an amazing WBIT tournament, and then all the other players obviously did their thing too. But I think that helped her confidence going into this season, and just the confidence of the team and that momentum, being able to celebrate that with the confetti and the hats and the shirts, and just that gave us a little taste, I think, of what could be to come. And so this year we're kind of rolling with that.
Yeah, we had Sophie on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and she commented on the fact that you guys have all kind of grown up together. I know she was a little late to the party as a transfer, but now you've played together for some years. You've practiced together. You've as you mentioned, you go shopping together, whatever it is. But she made a comment that kind of stood out to me about, as you mentioned, she's having a really good year, and I know Coach Plitzowite, it seems like every time I hear her talk, she's talking about paint touches, because that can, even if Sophie's not scoring on paint touches, it can help you, right? Double team, kick out, whatever it is. But Sophie said that there were times this year where the part of her success has been teammates have gotten her the ball where they've made a pass where maybe last year they wouldn't have made the pass, that for whatever reason the chemistry is better, the trust might be better. It's like, oh yeah, we can do this. Have you noticed that part of it too, do you think? And not just specific to Sophie, but just as an operational unit here.
Oh, for sure. I think something that we stress, especially early on, or if let's say things aren't really necessarily going our way, we don't have a flow or rhythm, we're not finding baskets easy. I feel like I'm always making it a point. Let's get Soph the ball. Let's get a post touch. Let's get something through the middle and allow her to make the decision, because I think that trust aspect, she has proven like time and time again that she can be effective in there. And so whether or not she's scoring or she's hitting that dump pass that she's gotten really comfortable with, or kicking it out, whatever it is, I think allowing her to make those decisions has built a big trust within the team. And I mean, it goes both ways. Like, she's not afraid to say, hey, this is what I see, get me the ball, or whatever it is. And then we're allowed to, come back with also feedback. So I think we've gone a long ways in the terms of, or what you've said about that, and using the inside presence more, and especially with Fee now. She's done an amazing job too of coming in and subbing with Soph, but it goes the same with her. I mean, her little hook pass towards the middle, like, it's so efficient and effective, and so we're going to use them because they've proven that they can be really good in there. Yeah,
and it's kind of cool because it's a 1-2 punch. They both bring some different things, right? So a team's got to prepare maybe differently, or, here's a new look and here's a different look, and what have you, with how that works. With her as well, talking about Sophie still, it looks to me, and we didn't talk about this when she was on, but that the game has slowed a little for her, in the sense that, like, there's even times where she'll get it, and it almost looks like it's too slow at times. But I think it's processing, and there's no panic now. She's like, okay, if the triple team's coming or the double team's coming, I know what to do. Sometimes she's strong enough, she'll just go take it at them. Yeah. Other times it's a kick out. But it just seems like she's patient. I mean, it's slowed down, not to the detriment. Like, it's processing for her better.
Yeah, it's a lot of practice too, and preparation. Coach puts her in those positions in practice to work on. There's many times when either, they're down there getting double, tripled, or even the perimeters, if we happen to get down there, whatever it is, she makes it a point to work on those things so they do feel comfortable in knowing they did it in practice. But like you said, it's just, I think, the confidence in knowing she's done this many times and she's been successful. And, within a player, that builds confidence in itself when you know that you can do it.
In today's college landscape, it's not that common where a nucleus of players have now come together. In your guys' case, it's really cool because this is a group of ladies who've come together with a goal. It was a pretty ballyhooed group, you guys coming in as freshmen, and then you add Sophie to it a little bit later, mostly Minnesotans and mostly trying to turn the tide of this program. And so now through the process, we talk about the growth, and now you're making passes that maybe a year ago or 2 years ago you don't. You go through the summer workouts, all of that, because now you look around, transfer, and I'm not saying transfers are bad, but all of a sudden you have to learn new stuff every year, and with you guys that's not the case. You're growing you're starting from a point that's ahead maybe of some other teams who are in June trying to do things. So what has that process been like, and now here getting to this point through this same basic nucleus of people?
Yeah, it helps in the way that we're all just so close and interconnected. And so when things aren't going our way on the court, we can fall back on our relationships and how we are as teammates and friends, honestly, to get through it together. And Amaya, there's been multiple times the past week or so, she's just texted me or said to me, like, you realize like how far we've come and what we've been through. Like, this is literally our dream. Like, this is what we came here to do. And if you think about it and you look in that perspective, it's just so cool. And just being able to do it with Amaya, with Nia, who also had come, and Sophie was right there with us, and everyone else that had come and stayed. They could have jumped ship too, but they didn't. And so I think that just speaks volumes to the people, the program, just the culture we've built, and Coach B obviously coming in and creating those relationships, so we trust her and the program and what she wanted to do. And so for it all to come together just speaks so highly of all of us and just the loyalty we have to each other, I think.
So there'll be moments now once the tournament starts, right, where stars are born. People that we know, players, we know that you guys are all good, but all of a sudden opportunities are. I think back even Amaya's freshman year, she had, 30-something in the Big Ten tournament. And then the WNIT, she all of a sudden took games over. This could be her moment. It could be Mara Braun's moment. It could be Grace Graholski or Sophie Hart. Name them all, right? So how do you keep that in mind that, we want it to be somebody's moment. Maybe it's all of our moments, but to not make it too big as you go in.
I think it'd be fun to have all of us have our moments. Makes it really hard to guard, that's for sure. But I think that's the fun of it and the excitement. You don't know who's going to go off each night, and we're all going to come in confidently and be willing to score the ball, assist, rebound, get steals, whatever it is. I promise you everyone's going to do everything they can to win this game. And I think we're at the point of the season now where we understand what's at stake, and we're really, you're winning or you're going home. And I think that's the beauty of March, is just putting everything out there, and just it could be the last moments with your team, so doing everything you can. So it really is. You never know what you're going to get with the team and who goes off each night, but I think that's the fun part of it. And if we can all score double figures, that looks even better, especially versus the other team.
Yeah.
We have a good chance of winning if that's the case. So we'll hope for that. But like you said, it really can be anyone, any night.
And this is a roster, right, that has been that way. Mm-hmm. There's been heroes on different nights. Some nights it's everyone scored 12, and some nights, somebody's gone off for 27, and that's what you needed that night. So maybe that's the path you guys will take.
Yeah, we'll see
indeed. So I know you said you're going to probably dive into Green Bay a little bit. Do you know anything or much yet at this point? Obviously, third straight year they've been in the dance, so they won't, they're going to want to come in and knock off a Big Ten team, right?
There's actually a lot of connections. So Coach Kayla had recruited me at Wisconsin, so I actually have a great relationship with her. Obviously, I haven't seen her in a while, but it'll be fun to see her and just the success she's had. I'm not surprised. She's a great recruiter and great person, and so I'm happy for her to see her. But then their leading scorer, Jenna Geyer, I played with her at North Tartan. Played at AU with her, so I'm very familiar with her as well, so that'll be nice to see her. And there's some Wisconsin girls, other Minnesota girls that we know just here and there. I think it's a team filled with players that we're familiar with, but to be able to play them at this level and at this stage is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, no doubt. And your head coach, Dawn Plitzo, I got her kind of coaching chops as an assistant there way back in the day too. So there's and she's obviously from Wisconsin. So kind of cool little regional matchup here, and hopefully through that one, and then into a game on Sunday with a time to be determined. Let me talk about a sponsor here real quick on our Go Gopher podcast. It's a little snow right now. By the weekend, that should all be thawed out, and that means we can start talking about fishing. So if you're a fisherman, you can get out and let the OnX Fish app help you find the next best bite. The Fish app offers the most comprehensive fishing tool for increasing your success. Use the Fish app to find new places to fish, sort by lake, species, abundance, trophy, and keeper potential. OnX Fish also shows you hotspots, lake-by-lake regulations, private and public land ownership info, and more. Download OnX Fish on the App Store or go online onxmaps.com/fish to get more information about the app that's changing the game on the water, and you can try it for free for 7 days.
Know what happy is? Veggies. Crunchy, crispy, colorful, seasonal, aromatic, juicy veggies. Produce at its freshest. Cub produce. Best produce, period. Guaranteed to make you happy or will replace it. No questions asked. Because good produce makes veggie lovers happy. Just remember, fresh, happy. Stale, limp, and wilted, not happy. You want to make a veggie lover happy? Shop Cub for produce. And shop happy.
Hey Gopher fans, Bobby Durkin here from Minnesota men's basketball. In our program, championship culture is built on toughness, trust, and showing up every day to do the work. That's why I'm proud to support the True North family of companies. True North invests in elite teams, like the championship team at True North Mergers and Acquisitions, Minnesota's largest seller of companies. To learn more about True North and their family of independently owned companies, visit thetruenorthfamily.com. That's how champions are built.
It's episode 212. Mara Braun is our guest. And do you guys talk about as a team what you want to do? Is it one game at a time, or is it like, oh man, if we, how do you set goals now, or do you discuss it? Maybe you don't want to share how you go about it. What's your mindset?
I think coach is always a one game at a time type of person, and I think we are too, and we understand what's at stake. Like I said, now, if we don't win this game, we go home, and it's the last game for our seniors. And so having that in mind, but also going out there and just playing freely and enjoying the moment. I think getting 2 at home would be huge, and, make the most of the opportunity we get of being able to play home court advantage, play in front of our fans at the barn. So obviously we're going into this to win the first one and to hopefully win the second one, just to be able to play in front of our fans 2 more times instead of 1.
Yeah, and as you take it in, it's the big dance, it's the tournament. And maybe you've done this at times too, in terms of just soaking in the moment, but knowing this is a business situation. We have to win this game to get another game, but also like, holy cow, here we are. This is what I dreamed about growing up.
Yeah, it starts in our preparation, our practice, and making sure we're all locked in. But like I said, this team's best when we're loose and we're having fun and we're smiling and we're goofy. But we also have that seriousness to us and knowing, we're going out there to compete and to play as hard as we can and, to push teams around. So there's that fine line, and I think we've done a good job all season of having fun off the court and enjoying the moment, and then on the court, once we're there between those lines, like it's go time.
Yeah. When we started this podcast, I think the first thing I said was, I can tell by your smile that you're happy. I've noticed, and maybe, I watch you guys all the time, that you've smiled, it seems to me, on the court during games more. Not that you were scowling or anything in the past, but I wonder, part of that is just, did you grow to appreciate playing more through your journey here? And is that part of it, do you think?
100%. I think anytime I get down or upset with how I'm performing or whatever it is, it seems almost selfish, to my past self that has been off of the floor and just wanting to be back on the floor so badly. So I just feel like I owe it to myself to just enjoy every moment I'm out there and just to play as hard as I can, because I know what it's like to not be out there and to want to be out there so badly. So I think especially at this point of the season and knowing this is what you work for and this is what I wanted my whole life, is to play in the big dance, to really take advantage of that. And like I said, just go out there and do everything I can to win. and have fun doing it.
Yeah, I think that's that's awesome. And I think just in my observations of all the years I've watched sports, that teams that play with a certain joy just are better. They just are. I mean, there's just something, like you see it, teams will just get into this trance, whether it's hockey or basketball or whatever, and it's like, it becomes almost like an army march, like it's just a routine. And sometimes you have to smell the roses along the way. And teams that are good, I think, take in the joyful nature of what sports was all about. It was hundreds of years ago, we invented sports just to have fun, just to, like you said, goof around. Obviously, it's a serious situation. You want to win. There's a lot at stake, but you got to find the joy in it, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think one of the teams I just think of right away is the Lynx and how close that they are and the fun that they have off the floor and on the floor. I think they're a team that you watch that's laughing, joking around, having a good time, but also great competitors and want to win. So I think that that's a team that it'd be nice to emulate, and just with our culture and chemistry as well.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so with your season, take me through. You're back, obviously to start the year. Was the confidence there right from the start, or did you have to kind of earn back the trust of your feet, so to speak, and to get into the rhythm? Because just observation, it seems like you're on a good run here. Maybe the second half you've played a little better than early, and it could just be coincidence. But what was that process like coming back? Did you have to regain some confidence, even though you knew you were a good player?
I think just getting my game legs back, and especially, I think a lot of times shots were short, and I think that just comes with I hadn't played games in a long time, and early on I was having cramping issues, things like that. So just starting to get back in the flow of playing games and playing a lot of minutes. But I've felt good all season, knock on wood. My foot's been fine all year long, and so I'm really happy about that. So then it just comes down to my play on the court, and I think I've also been impacting the game in more ways than I have before. And so if the scoring isn't coming as smoothly as I wanted it to, I know that I've grown in other aspects of my game throughout my career. And so I think that'll come. And there were games when I started to pick it up offensively and been more aggressive. And there are games where I wasn't necessarily looking to score as much, which I need to be very aggressive in this postseason in order to help my teammates out. But like I said, I've just done a lot of other things to impact the game, which I'm proud of. But offensively, I think that's oftentimes what people see first. And maybe, Mara Braun's not scoring as much. What is it? Blah, blah, this and that. But, I mean, our team is having success, and that's all I really care about, first of all. So it'll come, and I have another year to, get my scoring back. But if we're having success, I could care less, really.
And you've hit, particularly in that stretch of games, I mean, the whole team was making winning. You're not going to win 9 in a row without making some winning plays. You hit some the Ohio State shot was crazy. There was a shot clock late in the game, too, that you hit, and kind of the flip shot at one point. So what goes into your mindset when it's crunch time? And you mentioned this week or next week, if it still is going, there are going to be some crunch time situations. Sure. So how do you handle that, knowing you've got teammates that help, but also knowing, is there part of you that says, hey, I can be this go-to player here in the prime time?
I think staying focused throughout the game, no matter if I've been scoring that game or if I haven't. I was able to knock in some pretty clutch threes. I think on the Ohio State game, Michigan State, I had some. On the other Ohio State game, Iowa, I think. So there are times that I've documented I can do it and I can hit those clutch shots. So it's now just having that confidence to just let it go whenever I get the ball. And maybe if I haven't had the numbers I've had in the past, knowing that it's in there somewhere and that I still have I get the same reps up every single day. I work on those shots every day. So just having the confidence to let it go. And all my teammates have the same within themselves. I think that's something that's so cool about this team is anyone that gets it in that moment will shoot it confidently and oftentimes have a really good chance of making it as well.
Yeah, and you think about it, right? That there's been pieces added to this team that can be, scoring. Grace had a couple of 25-plus point games, and Sophie Hart the other day had 15 rebounds by halftime or whatever the number was. So you're right. Sometimes it might not be scoring on that given night that is going to help win from you. You may have to do other things. things, and then on a night where, okay, this is the night I gotta, hit a couple of threes or whatever.
Yeah, I think just going into this postseason, being aggressive from the get-go, looking for my shot early, but making the right play too. There is definitely a fine line of doing that. So being aggressive, but making the right play, making sure that every time down the floor we get the best shot possible.
So it looks to me as I watch you guys, and I remember back early, turnovers were an issue. I'm talking not this year. I'm talking like 2, 3, 4 years ago. Turnovers were an issue. All of a sudden, you guys start taking care of the ball. The wins start coming this year. You're amongst the country's best in keeping the ball. The times that maybe things have gone a little haywire is when things have gone haywire, right? All of a sudden you're not keeping care of the ball. So as you get into this and the competition is tough, how do you dial in on that part of it? Because when you're taking care of the ball, it's hard to beat you guys.
Yeah.
I don't mean you specific. I'm saying as a team.
Sure. Yeah. I think the games that it starts to go a little crazy is once you get one turnover, then two, then they start building up, and then you're playing tense, and then you're playing fast, and you're playing sped up, and you're not wanting to make mistakes, and that's almost worse.
Human nature falls.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So just staying away from that and just playing calm and confident like we have all those other games we've taken care of the ball. There's only a select few of times that we've kind of gone off the rail in terms of doing that. But I think just with age, we've become more confident in those situations, and the games slow down, and I think that's really shown. But just also our IQs have built so much over the course of, especially the Coach P being here, and she makes sure that we really understand the game at another level. And I do think that really helps on the floor too, making good decisions. But yeah, especially this postseason, making sure that we control the tempo and just make sure that our ball, control is at an all-time high, because we're going to need to make the most of every possession.
And we haven't talked about defense. You guys are amongst the best teams defensively in terms of, shot percentage against and points allowed and all of that stuff. And we talk about we can talk about scoring, we can talk about everything else, but really at the end of the day, if you guys defend, you're going to have success, right?
We work on it every day. We have been since the summer, and Coach always talks about how we were probably the only team working on transition defense in June, which is probably true. We were going crazy playing defense and just grinding it out in the summer and making sure we were prepared for once preseason hit, and so we could focus on other things and not necessarily that. And I think that's really helped us out this year. But just the trust of playing together on defense is an all-time high, I think, for this group, and knowing that if one player, the spirit leads them to go and make a play, that the other ones will be there to help them out and to rally around them. But yeah, it's so much fun, especially when we're getting stops and pushing in transition and playing fast. Like a lot of us, that's what we want to do and we've been doing for a long time. So not getting stuck in the half court and just, getting those stops, getting rebounds, and going. I think our guards have done a great job of rebounding too on the defensive end, so we can push it in transition.
And Coach Plitzowicz talked this year multiple times about in-game adjustments, and then also within in the game, on the court, not a timeout adjustment or a halftime adjustment, but where you guys now are so familiar with each other, you might do something that she doesn't even know. Oh, well, that worked, yeah, because she knew she would go there and she'd cover this, and so that's got to be a good feeling defensively to know I can slide here, even though that wasn't part of the scouting report. Yeah. If I do that, I know that I've got help here, or I'm, however it goes.
Yeah, you talk about being a player-led team, and that's something that Coach really believed would bring us to the next level. And when we can figure out on our own, on the floor, how to get stops and how to score the ball and by ourselves and not have to rely on her voice, that's when we're really going to take this to a next level. And I think we've done that this year. It started in the off season and didn't come easy. It was a grind. And it really, I think, built trust within us that we can get on each other and we can make sure everyone's held to the same standard. But it's shown on the court, and like you said, making those in-game adjustments that Coach might not even know happens, but they do.
Yeah. All right, last one. You mentioned you're getting some texts from people maybe you haven't talked to in a while, and everyone's excited. So how many family members and friends? What do you got? What do you got for this weekend?
Well, my family already has like 10 season tickets itself, so I know those will be filled up. My parents are already asking, like, come on, send the tickets over. We need to get them out. But I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of different Wayzata people or people from back home, people from my dad's work, mom's work, my brother, and all his coworkers.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fans, and I'm excited to see all of them.
Yeah, and how about when even like strangers, whether they're adults, but I would think like when little girls are around and you got elementary day or whatever it is, and they come running up to you, that's got to just feel great too, to know that they're there to watch you and you're kind of setting an example for them, because it's like that's who I want to be in 10 years or whatever.
Well, it's really taken off this year, I think, too, and hearing from other stories from different teammates of being back at their hometowns. And I think Sophie brought some friends or some of our teammates out to like some local place by her, and some random couple came up and we're talking to them. And it's even wherever we go out through the metro, there's people coming up to us everywhere and just wishing us luck for the tournament or just throughout the season. It just means so much to us because this is what we've stayed for and this is what we've built this program to be. So, it built, that community around us, and it's just really fun to now be able to pay it back and have these games played at the barn. It just means a lot.
Yeah, well, let's keep it rolling, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks so much. Exciting week. Keep smiling. It's fun watching you guys play, and let's go get the first one on Friday.
Thank you.
All right, gophersports.com. Tickets available Friday, 5 o'clock, Minnesota and Green Bay, round 1 at Williams Arena. Mara Braun, it's episode 212.
My thanks to Gopher women's basketball standout Mara Braun for joining me on the Go Gopher podcast this week. Tickets are going fast. Get yours now. It's gophersports.com for NCAA tourney ticks. Friday, 5 o'clock, Gophers in Phoenix, and I hope you enjoyed hearing from Mara Braun about that game as much as I did. Episode 212 is presented by Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're buying or selling a business, visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com. Cub is a proud supporter of Gopher Athletics for over 20 years and a proud sponsor of the Go Gopher podcast with Mike Grimm. Cub, bigger savings on the items you love. Shop happy. Our thanks to Affinity Plus for providing a gift card for Mara's appearance this week. And also Onyx Fish sponsors the show. Happy fishing from Onyx Maps. Again, I'd invite you to listen to past podcasts, and please right now click that subscribe or follow button to the Go Gopher podcast. It's free to follow, free to subscribe, free to listen at any time. And please share the link to the podcast with others so they can subscribe and listen as well. And if you enjoyed the podcast, give us some positive feedback on your social media channels. We'll talk again next week.
Know what the happiest bird is? Chicken. Cub fried chicken. Wait, let me rephrase that. Know what bird makes people happiest? Cub fried chicken. Crispy, crunchy, juicy, perfectly seasoned. It's the kind of chicken that disappears faster than you can say, 8-piece, please. Or, let's be real, maybe 12-piece. Because when it comes to fried chicken, more just means more happy. So if you're shopping chicken, shop Cub fried chicken and shop happy.